Have you ever noticed that no matter how advanced or high-tech modern trucks get, they just can't match the raw dominance of the classics? There was a time when metal was thicker, engines roared louder, and size truly commanded attention. Believe it or not, some pickup trucks built from the 1960s to the 1990s were so massive they could make today's biggest models look miniature. We're talking over 20 feet in length, as wide as a bus, and carrying an attitude that demanded respect on every road. Picture checking your mirror and seeing one of these beasts rolling up behind you. Now that was real power. These machines weren't built for show. They were built to work, to haul, and to impress. Curious which of these legends ruled their era and still make collectors' hearts race today? Then strap in, because this ride through America's biggest, boldest vintage pickups is about to take you back to a time when trucks were truly built different. And trust me, the final one on this list is so wild, owning it isn't for the faint of heart. Chevrolet C30 Crew Cab Long Bed. During the 1970s, Chevrolet introduced one of its most commanding machines, the C30 Crew Cab Long Bed, a truck that perfectly captured the spirit of American toughness and practicality. This wasn't just a pickup, it was a full-blown powerhouse built to haul, tow, and dominate the road. In its extended frame setup, the C30 stretched an incredible 20.5 feet long, stood 6.6 feet tall, and spanned almost 7 feet wide. The 8.2-foot bed could swallow anything from construction gear to full-size ATVs with ease. Under the hood, the star of the show was the 454 cubic inch big block V8, a monster engine producing up to 350 horsepower and an earth-moving 1,250 newton-meters of torque. Despite its sheer size, the C30 handled its weight, over 5,500 pounds, with poise. It rode on a full floating rear axle, reinforced leaf springs, and heavy-duty shocks, all mounted to a thick steel frame that could take years of abuse. While rear-wheel drive was standard, many models came with dual rear wheels or 4x4 configurations for serious towing power. Inside, it was pure vintage comfort, a wide bench seat, analog gauges, and enough room for a full crew of 6. It wasn't fancy, but it was solid, a dependable workhorse with just a hint of class. Over time, Chevy began offering appearance and trim packages, signaling a shift from purely utilitarian work trucks to the more refined pickups we know today. The C30 became a favorite among haulers, trailer convoys, and RV enthusiasts who needed serious muscle behind them. But if you think that's wide, wait till you see the next truck. It had dual rear wheels so massive it practically filled an entire lane by itself. Ford F-250 Highboy Crew Cab. From 1967 to 1977, Ford built a pickup that would go on to become a cult favorite among vintage truck fans, the F-250 Highboy Crew Cab. Though Highboy wasn't its official name, it stuck thanks to its distinctive, elevated stance. This unique height came from a factory 4x4 setup where the front axle was mounted directly to the frame, giving it that unmistakable lifted look. Measuring 19.3 feet long, 6.5 feet tall, and just over 7 feet wide, the Highboy was a giant of its era, towering over sedans that barely reached 15 feet. Its raised profile wasn't just for show. It was designed to tackle the kind of rough terrain other trucks wouldn't dare approach. Power came from the legendary 390 cubic inch V8 from Ford's FE family, putting out around 250 horsepower and over 600 newton-meters of torque. Paired with a 4-speed manual transmission and a true 4-wheel drive system, it was built to thrive in off-road, industrial, and rural environments. The suspension setup featured heavy-duty leaf springs with a Dana 44 front axle and a Dana 60 rear axle, both icons of durability. This gave the Highboy exceptional load capacity and unshakable toughness. Its square front end, raised stance, and rugged frame made sure everyone knew it wasn't your average pickup. Inside, it was pure function over form. Steel dash, straight bench seats, and zero luxury. Yet the crew cab offered enough space for up to 6 adults, making it both a workhorse and a hauler. Beloved by loggers, farmers, and construction crews, the F-250 Highboy earned a reputation as a working-class legend. Many of the survivors today are restored with even taller lifts, proudly carrying that unmistakable Highboy attitude. And this is just the beginning. The next trucks on the list take heavy duty to a whole new level. Dodge D200 Crew Cab. Introduced in the early 1960s, the Dodge D200 Crew Cab was among the first pickups to make the 4-door heavy-duty design a mainstream success. With its tough, boxy frame and imposing size, the D200 was essentially a medium-duty truck cleverly disguised as a pickup, built to carry both crew and cargo without compromise. The long-bed crew cab version stretched over 20 feet long, stood around 6.4 feet tall, and spanned nearly 6.9 feet wide. Its 12-foot wheelbase gave it incredible on-road stability and a cabin roomy enough for serious work. Under the hood, it packed Chrysler's B-Series 383 V8, producing around 280 horsepower and more than 1,200 newton-meters of torque. It came with a 4-speed manual transmission, though a 3-speed automatic was available, a rare luxury at the time. The truck rode on heavy-duty leaf springs and a solid rear axle, capable of hauling payloads up to 3,000 pounds. Rear-wheel drive was standard, but 4x4 variants were also built for those who needed extra muscle on rough terrain. Inside, the D200 was all about function. Flat bench seats, durable materials, and a Spartan cabin that could handle years of abuse. It quickly became a favorite among miners, farmers, and construction workers across rural America. Thanks to its strong chassis and generous interior space, many were later converted into ambulances, rural fire trucks, and custom motorhomes throughout the 70s and 80s. One even appeared in an episode of the classic American TV show Chips as a rescue vehicle. And if the D200 impressed you, get ready. The next pickup took the concept of a long bed to an entirely new level. From 1973 to 1987, GMC rolled out one of the boldest and most imposing pickups ever made, the 3500 Sierra Grande DUI. And here, the word grande wasn't a gimmick, it meant business. This was a rolling fortress of steel, built for immense torque and relentless hauling power. Measuring just over 20.6 feet long, nearly 6.6 feet tall, and an incredible 8 feet wide thanks to its dual rear wheels, the Sierra Grande looked every bit the powerhouse it was. Beneath the hood sat the proven 454 cubic inch V8, cranking out 350 horsepower and more than 1,300 newton-meters of torque. That muscle let it tow up to 10,000 pounds, making it a favorite for pulling motorhomes, livestock trailers, and even triaxle haulers. Most models came with rear-wheel drive, though four-wheel drive versions were produced for industrial, fleet, and off-road work. The rear suspension used dual leaf spring stacks, reinforced axles, and a frame borrowed from medium-duty trucks, giving it unmatched strength. Inside, the Sierra Grande trim added a touch of comfort to all that muscle. Plush bench seats, wood-grain dash accents, full instrumentation, and an AM/FM stereo turned this workhorse into a surprisingly refined ride. Over time, it became a legend among independent haulers and trailer owners. One famous example even towed a light aircraft at a rural fair in the 80s, a moment that cemented its place as a symbol of brute force engineering. And if you think that's impressive, just wait. The next trucks on this list will completely redefine what big really means in the world of classic pickups. If you're loving this journey through America's vintage giants, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We've still got 4 colossal beasts left, and the last one looks like it could haul the Earth itself. In 1993, as Dodge prepared to launch a new generation of trucks, they unleashed one of the toughest machines of the classic Ram era, the Dodge D350, powered by the legendary Cummins engine. This beast wasn't just big, it was practically a tractor disguised as a pickup, boasting semi-truck levels of torque and durability that made it a living legend among enthusiasts. Measuring 20 feet long, 6.5 feet tall, and around 7.4 feet wide in dual rear-wheel form, the D350 was a rolling wall of steel. But the real heart of its legend lay under the hood. Instead of a typical gas-fed V8, Dodge dropped in a 5.9-liter inline-six Cummins diesel, an engine borrowed straight from the heavy-duty world. This six-cylinder workhorse produced about 160 horsepower, but the real magic was its 1,200 newton-meters of torque at low RPM, turning it into a towing monster capable of pulling almost anything. Its reliability was unmatched. Many D350s have racked up over 500,000 miles with nothing more than basic maintenance. The 5-speed manual NV4500 transmission featured long, deliberate shifts typical of heavy machines, while an automatic option existed for convenience, though purists always chose the manual for total control over the power. Rear-wheel drive came standard, with four-wheel drive and low-range gearing available for serious off-road or worksite demands. Inside, the D350 was rugged yet practical. Wide bench seats, air conditioning, and a radio made long hauls comfortable and steady. Over the years, it became a trusted partner for rural workers and trailer haulers alike. Even today, it's common to see 1993 D350 Cummins trucks still on the job, proving their timeless toughness. For many, it marks the end of the true mechanical era before electronics began to dominate. And up next is a truck from a brand that defines torque, endurance, and unstoppable power. Ford F-350 Crew Cab. Between 1970 and the 1980s, Ford introduced one of its most respected and heavy-duty pickups, the F-350 Crew Cab. This machine was Ford's answer to the growing demand for trucks with massive payloads, roomy interiors, and an unmistakable road presence, all before Super Duty became the name for ultimate power. Measuring over 20.3 feet long, 6.5 feet tall, and nearly 7.5 feet wide in dual rear-wheel versions, every inch of this beast screamed built to work. Under the hood, Ford offered several engines through the years, but the most legendary was the 460 cubic-inch V8, pushing 220 to 300 horsepower depending on configuration. Torque easily surpassed 1,100 newton-meters, ensuring unstoppable pulling power in any situation. Rear-wheel drive came standard, while four-wheel drive models were popular among emergency teams, the military, and operators tackling extreme conditions. Inside, the crew cab delivered one of the largest interiors in its class, enough space to seat 6 adults comfortably, along with their tools and gear. The metal dashboard, large speedometer, and simple, durable gauges reflected its no-nonsense purpose. The F-350 became a favorite among contractors, utility crews, and heavy service operators, thanks to its reinforced frame that supported custom builds like cranes, flatbeds, and even mobile workshops. Fun fact, during the 1980s, many rural fire departments across the U.S. adopted these trucks as rapid response vehicles, proving just how capable and reliable they were, both on and off duty. And if you think this powerhouse was impressive, the next truck on the list is a true one-of-a-kind legend, with a name as unique as its look. International Harvester 1210 Travelette Buttercup. Few people today remember this hidden gem of American truck history. But if you lived through the 1970s and worked in farming or heavy transport, chances are you heard of the International Harvester Travelette 121, especially the rare and iconic version nicknamed Buttercup. Built in the early 1970s, the Travelette was a four-door pickup produced by International Harvester, a company better known for tractors and industrial trucks. But this model was something special. Measuring 20 feet long, 6.6 feet tall, and about 7 feet wide, it commanded attention both for its size and style. The nickname Buttercup came from one particularly famous unit, painted pale yellow with white accents and used by a farming company in Texas. Its distinctive look turned it into a showpiece at vintage truck meets, inspiring several tribute builds from collectors. Under the hood, it carried a 404 cubic inch V8, producing around 250 horsepower and 1,100 Newton-meters of torque, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. Rear-wheel drive came standard, though 4-wheel drive versions were available by special order. Its reinforced leaf spring suspension and medium-duty truck chassis gave it the kind of toughness that earned the Harvester name. Inside, the Travelette stayed true to its working roots. Vinyl bench seats, a metal dashboard, simple gauges, and enough room to seat 5 or 6 adults in practical comfort. Despite its ruggedness, it had an understated charm that made it stand out on any job site. Today, surviving Travelette 1210s are highly prized by collectors, and even original parts command a premium. Buttercup itself became a legendary symbol of International Harvester's bold experiment in blending heavy-duty performance with pickup practicality. And now, we've reached the final and largest machine on this list. A truck so massive it blurred the line between pickup and big rig. Chevrolet C60 Custom Pickup. If the previous trucks impressed you, the Chevrolet C60 Custom Pickup takes things to a whole new level. Built between the 1960s and 1970s, the C60 wasn't technically a pickup at all. It was a medium-duty commercial truck. But a few custom shops and even GM itself transformed it into a dual-cab pickup with a full-size bed and proportions so extreme it redefined what big truck meant. Measuring over 22 feet long, standing 7.2 feet tall, and nearly 2 feet wide, this machine made even heavy-duty pickups look small. It was so large it needed wide roads, careful turns, and, yes, it was still street legal. Power came from the massive 402 cubic inch V8, producing between 280 and 320 horsepower and more than 1,350 Newton-meters of torque, especially in dual carb or tow package variants. Transmissions were typically 5 or 6-speed manuals, sending power to the rear wheels, though some versions came equipped with locking differentials and air brakes, giving the C60 more in common with commercial rigs than consumer pickups. The front suspension used a solid axle with heavy-duty leaf springs, straight from the base C60 truck line, while the rear suspension was reinforced with thick steel framing capable of hauling massive loads. In essence, it had the spirit of a pickup, but the bones of a semi-truck. Inside, it offered the space of a small bus. The crew cab could seat 6 adults with ease, and the dashboard came directly from the C60's Industrial Series. Simple, rugged, and built purely for function. Today, the C60 Custom Pickup is a true automotive unicorn. Some were converted into show trucks or used as platforms for extreme custom builds. One even served as a NASCAR team support vehicle, and it still appears at heavy-duty truck events across the U.S., a living monument to the era when bigger really meant legendary. Built to last, to haul, and to dominate any road, they carried a spirit of toughness that defined their time. More than just machines, they were trusted companions to farmers, builders, and road warriors, shaping generations of hard work and determination. Even today, decades later, these steel legends still command admiration, respect, and pure nostalgia. So tell us in the comments, which of these giants would you love to own, see up close, or even drive? And which one do you think could still stand toe-to-toe with modern trucks? If you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell icon, and stay tuned, because every week we bring you more incredible machines that have defied time, roads, and expectations. See you in the next video.